wanted to tell you today about an idea that I'm calling seasonal productivity. And I come to this idea from a lot of places. Late diagnosis of ADHD in my 30s, the burnout and the existential unraveling that inevitably happens, the fallout of something like this, healing from some adverse childhood experiences, and feeling really just burned out, depleted, lost, stuck. Thinking about my productivity, my creative output as going in seasons, kind of like a wave, just ups and downs, nothing more complicated than that. It allows me to recalibrate, to readjust my expectations of myself. So a great example of this right now in my life is working out and going to the gym. This is something that I have loved in seasons of my life, and I am in a season of my life where I have a puppy who cannot be left alone longer than 10 minutes. We're learning. And so I know this isn't going to be forever. I know she's going to develop independence and I'll be able to go to the gym for an hour, but right now I can't. And so instead of trying to force myself into an unrealistic expectation given my life circumstances, I'm choosing to flow with it instead and figure out how to keep myself moving forward in spite of this circumstance that is less than ideal. I made the choice to get a puppy. I didn't fully realize the implications that that would have on my ability to go to the gym. Okay, so let's figure it out. One of my favorite phrases is okay, and what's next? How can I keep it moving forward? And this is a challenge for me because I am somebody who experiences depressive episodes. So when I hit up against the expectations not going the way I think they should go, I can either get really down on myself and be really mean about it to myself, or I can say, oh, I guess I'm just in a season where that's not gonna happen. That's okay, because everything goes in seasons. Life is always changing. We know this, for better or for worse. You can't slow down the relentless march of time. So are you gonna go with it or are you gonna fight against it? I had this experience. My boyfriend at the time had some family in Laguna Beach, and Laguna Beach, California has these really intense, gorgeous coves that in the summertime you go out and swim in. They're awesome, they're super fun. And I grew up near Lake Erie, which looks like an ocean but acts like a lake. And so when I got in to swim, there were tons of people in the water. Everybody was playing, the waves were big, and I just really didn't have the same understanding of how oceans operate. And so I got sucked into an undertow and almost drowned. I remember the moment of being completely upside down, not knowing which way was up or down. It's all happening so fast. Eventually, I made my way to the surface. I got my ass out of the water. I've never been the same with the ocean since, if I'm honest. But my boyfriend was a surfer, and he came up and he was like, do you know how to handle that kind of a situation? And I was like, well, obviously not. I thought I was a strong swimmer, but that water was doing something I've never experienced before. And he said, the best way to handle that is to try to sink to the bottom and grab the sand and basically wait for the wave to pass and let your body go with it. That relationship has long since ended, but I've thought about that experience so many times because I think when you're in that tumble of life, you're fighting. You're trying to figure out how do I get to the surface? When really the only way to reasonably get through that without exhausting yourself is to just let yourself flow with it. So this is like the whole fundamental idea behind seasonal productivity. I think the only way to really step into a life that feels more alive for you is by making that choice. I'm going to give myself the best that I can right now under these circumstances. And so what unrealistic or unhealthy expectations about myself am I carrying around right now that I can just let them go? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear them, and I'll see you on the next one.